We have a new leader right now.
Well, if you could start to complete your course inspection, we are just a few minutes away from making a start in this $20,000 Sherridale Team Equestrian Realtors 1m35 National Prix. Big thank you to Sherridale Team, one of the leading agents in South Carolina, specialising in fine equestrian and recreational properties. Thrilled to have them on board as a sponsor for this final competition for the Lugano Diamond Split Right Jumping Tour Aiken. And of course, Sherridale also supporting that fist pump award that's currently being led by Madison Kondracki, winner of the two-round competition yesterday. And she's still leading the way in terms of that fist pump award. She'll be competing in this Sherridale team competition as well to conclude the weekend here in Aiken. For this 2A competition, it's a comeback jump-off, traditional jump-off format. Guillermo George setting the course of 12 numbered fences, 15 jumping efforts. Those equal first on faults alone, coming back for a jump off over a shortened course where time will separate all ties. For the first round, the course has been measured at 490 metres, running at 375 metres per minute. That gives a time allowed of 79 seconds. 12 numbered fences, 15 efforts with a double combination at 5 and a triple combination at 11. And the shortened course, as and when and if we get there, 1, 9, 3, 4, 5AB, 14, 15 and 16. 3 additional fences for the jump-off.
Good afternoon and welcome to Split Rock. Here, the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour in Aiken, South Carolina. Our Sherrodale Equestrian Realtors Meter 35 National Prix is the final item on the agenda here in the Grand Prix ring this week. Had that fantastic win for Charlotte Jacobs yesterday in our $100,000 Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour Grand Prix here in the new Grand Prix ring at Bruce's Field, the Aiken Horse Park. Guilherme Jorge sets a 79 seconds time allowed first round track for the Meter 35 National Prix here today. 20,000 on the line, and the first of just about 40 coming forward is going to be Sandra Dahlman with Dahlman Show Jumping's Iowa W. Sandra having a pretty good week with us here at Aiken, picking up a couple of top tens in the international tour. This horse Iowa by Kornad Obolensky. So he brings them across the ring. This is his first real related distance for the National Prix standard. 5 strides down to the Dahlman. Sandra will be pleased to have jumped that because actually she's had quite a bit of bad luck there. Looks like a rail comes down there in the middle of the ring, just behind the tree, which is a real landmark here in the center of this Aiken Horse Park ring. Just a little bit of a kink required there to get up to the ESI and then finish the serpentine, the S-bending line, turning the other direction through the left shoulder to the Lugano Diamonds. Back to the Sherrodale. 4 strides to the Vitalize. Cowboy boots, triple combination for Sandra. One remains, the Split Rock Jumping Tour Oxa, 74.46 on the clock. So 4 faults for Sandra Dahlman and Iowa W as our first to go. We'll see who's going to give us our first clear round here in our National Prix. $20,000 on offer thanks to Sherrodale Equestrian Realtors, specialists here in Aiken for equestrian properties in particular. O'Hara van der Wateringhoven by Echo. This chestnut mare, Skylar Riley, riding for Wolfstone Stables and Sales. Skylar, Nations Cup finalist, World Cup finalist for the USA.
Only 8 people on the Bet Horse Sports.
Only 8.
Quite interesting, that first bend between 1 and 2. The positioning of the Dahlman in the ring really does hold them onto a particular line. And now this serpentine up the ring from the Jarvis through the ESI footing. O'Hara just getting a little bit heavy in the hands here for Skylar. And from the Lugano then they've got the relatively tight rollback then to this distance here from the Sherrodale to the Vitalize. Just touches the front rail of the Vitalize. It was a very, very influential jump in much the same spot in the ring yesterday in the International Grand Prix. So Skylar and O'Hara van der Wateringhoven looking set to be clear round number 1, and they are. 74.748 is the time taken against that 79 seconds time allowed, and O'Hara and Skylar Riley are clear round number 1 here in the National Prix. jump off format to decide the competition here in the National Prix. So O'Hara and Skylar Riley will come back to us. And we understand there's going to be a revised time allowed as well of 76 seconds. So just bringing in that little bit closer. It won't affect the results so far, with both Sandra Dalman and Skylar Riley going around with 74 and some change on the clock. Three-time Canadian World Cup finalist Harold Chopping is our next to go, with Diane Halpin's Geronimo SCF. Another Spy Coast bred horse. Starting to see more and more Spy Coast horses coming up into the top echelons of the sport. So off to quite a steady start here in comparison to some of the others.
Just when you asked him to acknowledge, he raised his hand going, I acknowledge I'm getting a time fault anyway. Sorry, Jake, they turned your mic off when I talked.
Coming down to the double. Through that with the Southwestern motifs, turning back now to this serpentine line. Just a little bit of a necessity to sort of push away from the in-gate, have the little bit of power, a little bit of deliberate forward energy going up to the Jarvis to get you right the way down this line. Jumping nicely over this track so far. One to go. 69, 70 seconds on the clock at the moment for Harold Chopping as he jumps the Split Rock Jumping Tour at the last and comes home in 75.207. So Harold Chopping and Geronimo give us our jump off. They are clear round number 2 and they're inside that new time allowed of 76 seconds. First of two rides for Ed Copeland in this class. This is Elena Zapone's Caranos T by Laudanos. We'll see Ed towards the end of the draw as well with Nicolas. Just raced up the distance a little bit from 1 to 2. Ends up having the equestrian closet down early in their round. So on the 12 faults, having had number 3 and 4 down as well, Ed and Caranos. The ESI footing, that'll be a maximum height vertical in the middle of that serpentine, so standing perhaps a shade over the metre 35 specification of the class. That's the Sherrodale down as well, and the Vitalize. This is turning into quite a big score as they come to the triple combination line. Ed electing to retire there with the first of two rides in our $20,000 Sherrodale Equestrian Realtors Meter 35 National Prix. So 2 clears so far coming back to us. So we saw him in the ribbons yesterday with Kyoki in the International Prix, $100,000 Lugano Diamonds International Grand Prix here at Split Rock. Aiken, David Blake, Pine Hollow Farms, Milan 7 is the ride now. So clear the double with the southwestern motifs onto this serpentine effort. The length of this Grand Prix ring here at Aiken.
From the score because the dog chased the horse, made it go faster. And she shouldn't be as
So David and Milan, fine on the clock, so that is going to be another one coming back to us. Clear round number 3 there for Ireland's David Blake and Milan here in our Sherriedale National Prix. Shaping up to be a big jump off already as we get through these couple of riders. Of course, at this stage looking at a couple who've got 1 or 2 rides in the class. Caitlin Williams. Caitlin owns and rides Cassio Maloney are next to go. This Caratino bred, this one. Could they be clear round number 4? Coming around to the first on course. As I say, this we saw Skylar Riley really just being held on a very tight line by the Dalman. Caitlin's a little bit wider out, but just getting the line they want up to this again, even with the reduction in the time allowed. Most of those finding that it's pretty easy to travel at 375 around this course. Some nice long open lines here for the National Prix standard here today.
Flashed up and then disappeared.
So Caitlin Williams and Cassio Maloney are our latest clear round, so that gives us 4 already coming back for the jump off out of our first half dozen or so here in the Sherriedale Meter 35 National Prix. Jonathan Corrigan is going to be our next to go.
Riding Ferro OBF, it's a rider who's been in good form here in Aiken.
Jonathan with Deborah Wyckoff's Yamensina VDM by Hermes Deluxe.
Featured in the
Again, a rider who we saw yesterday in the International Grand Prix here. He's been very well placed over his many years based here in the US, including riding right the way through to the Irish team in Nations Cup action. Clear both parts of the double, Jonathan and Yaman Sina. Coming around now to this line. Up the ring, already 4 clear rounds coming back to us for our jump off in our Sherrodale National Prix. Because these horses have been jumping through the national string of classes here at Split Rock Aiken this week, but we're seeing a lot of the riders who we're familiar with from the international tour as well. Actually ended up abandoning a day of competition because of an incoming weather front, and it meant that we've had 3 jumper rings in operation over the course of the weekend here in Aiken, offering every single level. Talking to a few riders just locally in from Aiken, South Carolina, who've been having a wonderful week here, jumping some of the 65, 70 centimeter jumpers. So clear in the first round, but it's going to be 2 for time for Jonathan and Yaman Sina VDM. Team bronze medalist at the South American Championships this summer, Gabriela Reuter for Chile. Gabriela with Lumiere Horses Incorporated's Billy Lincoln. Gabriela has the equestrian closet down the front rail there off number 2 before they make this turn away from the top end of the ring. Hangs a little bit over the leaves before going down to the Dalman. Again, be pretty much up to spec, that Dalman vertical, meter 35, maybe a shade above for our National Prix finale. So Gabriela and Billy Lincoln, Gabriela and Billy Lincoln have that rail down 4-4, so that keeps them out of the jump off here in our initial round of the meter 35 National Prix. It's also going to be 2 for time, so a total of 6 for Gabriela and Billy Lincoln.
Dominic Grew, Cassick time. I don't know whether we have it all actually.
Panama's Dominic Roux and Kasakti are next to go. Dominic owns and rides this 13-year-old mare from the Holsteiner stud book by the sire Kaskari. So quite a bit of time wasted, obviously, with the refusal at number 2 coming around to take it again, but already 45 seconds elapsed by the time they got back there. So Dominic Roux and Kasakti going to really be impacted by time penalties here, as well as the 4 jumping penalties early on the course. Quite a lot of jumping still to go on this round as well for the Panamanian rider. Well, just electing not to complete her round there, Dominic Roux and Kasakti. So that means it's still 4 coming back to us for the jump off.
So clear, so far from start of round.
Lucy Huber and Capital Equine LLC's Clinline are next to go. Clintissimo, the sire of this one, coming from the Zangerscheide stud book. While since we've seen our very quick run of 4 clear rounds, but could we get a 5th to join them as we come up to about a quarter of the way through the starting draw here in the Sherrodale National Prix initial round. At 76 seconds time allowed means we've got 4 currently for the jump off. Jonathan Corrigan did jump clear, but he is impacted by the time. With 78.16 on the clock, he is going to actually be 3 for time for John Corrigan. So not the round they would have wanted at all in this National Prix. Lucy Huber and Clinline on 16 so far. And the front rail off the last as well. So full sun time there for Lucy and Clinline. So having actually not completed the triple combination line, she just jumps the last as a courtesy jump to indicate she retires.
Speed section.
US Olympian Will Simpson goes next with Two Socks Farms Quentin VA. Will and Quentin VA very successful here on the national tour this week, and Will doing not too bad on the internationals either with his horses Chaco P and Whoop-de-Doo. A element of the double down for Will and Quentin V8. Will's just also looks to be going quite steady here. Just a 9-year-old Holsteiner bred, this one. One of a couple of the VA bred horses here. We've also got Clyde VA with us at the show. Former Jason Foley and Georgia Tame ride over in Europe. Clear all three parts of the triple combination, just one to go for Will and Quentin VA as we see into time. So 4 for jumping and 4 for time there for Will and Quentin VA, a total of 8. So still just 4 clears coming back to us. Skylar Riley, Harold Chopping, David Blake and Caitlin Williams so far. So giving us 3 different nations amongst our 4 clears at this stage of the Sherrodale Equestrian Realty Meter 35 National Prix. Brooke Kemper is our next up. Beira LLC's Beira. So syndicate-owned horse here for Brooke. So Brooke and Beira with the rail. Also time faults for Brooke there with Beira. So another one falling foul of the 76 seconds time allowed. 77.505 was the time taken, translating to those 2 time penalties for Brooke and Beira. So we're going to go to Sandra Dallman again. Sandra with Dallman Show Jumping's Swedish Warm Blood by Harley. This is Carly Sold. Had a dedicated 7-year-old division this week that Sandra's been jumping this Carly Sold horse in. Just over the side footing with this 7-year-old Carly Sold here for Sandra Dahlman. As I say, still a while since we had that run of clears. So still just 4 for the jump off in the Sherrodale National Prix. Sherrodale local experts in equestrian realty. The back rail off the Vitalized there for Sandra. So coming to this final series of questions, the triple combination and then the curving line to the split rock just by the in-gate, which was on 4, has the C element of the triple combination down as well for 8 and 2 for time. So overall it is 10 for Sandra and Carly Sold. Puerto Rico's Vasco Flores with Connor M. Claudia Villamil in the ownership of Vasco's horse Connor. B element down there in the Southwestern motif double.
Charlie riding the next one.
First time the Lugano has gone. Sadly, it is for Vasco and Connor M, putting them on a total of 8 as they turn back to the Sherrodale Skinny. And just pulls away from the Vitalized, so that will be a circle for the moment until he puts the hand up and indicates that it is that he is going to retire. So Vasco and Connor M retire on course. Charlie Jane takes up the ride here on One and Only. Kane of Equine Ventures LLC's One and Only. It was going to be ridden by Nicole, but Charlie Jane taking over the ride here for our Sherrodale National Prix. So 15th or 16th in the ring. Actually, the way things have broken down. And still just 4 clear rounds. Skylar Riley, Harold Chopping, David Blake, Caitlin Williams, all coming that very early in the first half dozen. We got 4 clears. So Charlie just presses on a little bit up to the Lugano Diamonds. So Charlie there with 4 faults inside the time, with 1 and only. So just looking at our rankings, Jonathan Corrigan and Jean Messina with the clear and the 2 for time sits 5th. Sandra Dalman with the fastest 4 faulter sits 6th. Charlie Jane in 7th best. Michelle Braun's our next to go. Michelle, top 5 in the Grand Prix yesterday. The Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour Grand Prix. Michelle here with the Split Rock Farm owned Spectre 8 by LB Crumble, a Coleman horse. On the dam side as well. Really interesting, this one, going back to some thoroughbred bloodlines like Nijinsky and Northern Dancer. Spectre and Michelle clear through the double. Just going past the in-gate, this is a very new ride for Michelle. Just arrived and started jumping a little bit at home when we were last together for the Split Rock Tour up in Lexington, Kentucky a few weeks ago. So the 8-year-old Holsteiner Spectre 8 and Michelle going to jump clear over this first round National Prix track. It's going to be with a few time faults, 5 of them.
Just a little bit of time, I'm afraid, for Michelle Braun.
That'll go behind the 4 faulters. Michelle goes into 8th position as things currently stand, with those 4 clears coming back to us for the jump off thus far.
From yesterday, written by Madison Kondracki.
Winner already with us and current leader of the Sherrodale Fist Pump Award as well, Madison Kondracki, one of our junior riders. Madison owns and rides ESH Karishma by the VDL side Bacardi.
70.287 for yesterday's winner, Madison Kindraki.
Total of 12 then for Madison and ESH Charisma.
Still 4 clear rounds. Fabian Herrera.
70.287, incredibly fast over the course for Madison and Charisma. But the 3 down has them down the order 13th so far. Skylar Riley, Harold Chopping, David Blake, Caitlin Williams. There are 4 jump-off contenders as we go to Fabian Herrera. Fabian owns and rides Emperor by Eldorado van der Zeschuk. So Fabian and Emperor, another one to just pick up problems going through the double early on course number 5AB. Again, probably the most influential fence on the course thus far in the Sherrodale. Only the second, I would say, to have had the Lugano Diamonds down, but it goes. So Fabian just electing to retire there, coming around to that sort of final line.
So went straight to Taylor Land with Get Go next.
I can't see if 5A is up, but giving up.
Taylor Land and Get Go are our next to go. Taylor was a top 5 finisher in the Sarasota Grand Prix last year.
Yes, it is.
Sarasota going to play host to the Series Championships. Looking forward to that. That will be the January wrap-up to the 2022 edition of the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour. Have our FEI divisions, but we're all going to have also have those Series Championship classes, $100,000 available at 3 heights for competitors who've jumped at multiple Split Rock shows. And still opportunity for people to get in if they've ridden at one show already. They could come and ride the national tour at Fort Worth and be eligible for some of those Series Championship classes, or make themselves eligible if they're not already, to go to Sarasota then in late January. So still on the 0 score, the first in a while. As soon as we start talking about it, it's down at both of the first 2 elements of the triple combination. A and B down for 8 faults. Goes at the Split Rock. It stays up 74.781 on the clock. Taylor with the 8 faults.
74.781, the triple combination, influential there for Taylor Land and Get Go.
Joanna Wolfers are next up. Joanna owns and rides Top Gun Z. Tobago Z is the sire of this one, a 5-star Grand Prix winner, of course, this season out of the Zangerscheide stud book.
Hunter, you should do that while he's announcing.
So the autumn leaves comes down for Joanna Wolfer and Top Gun. So Tobago Z with Daniel Deusser amongst other successes was the recent 5-star Grand Prix winner on the Global Champions in New York on Governor's Island. Also won the Rolex Grand Slam Grand Prix of 's-Hertogenbosch indoors in the Netherlands this season as well.
I'll tell you what,
So the Sherrodale down, middle part of the triple combination is down, so coming home on 12 here, Joanna Wolfer and Top Gun Z. It is clear the last 76.741 on the clock, so it's going to be one for time as well. 12 jumping one time, 13 in all. Marissa Degno with the Loft Equestrians Concardus by Contagos next to go.
Yeah, and you can get them with like, I mean, I was getting them some little girls that like lavender.
Marissa, unfortunately, with the ESI down, that's the first against her in this National Prix initial round. Still just those very early 4 to have qualified through to our jump off. We're more than halfway through the starting draw of our National Prix, still just sitting on the 4 clears. Dennis Dijkman. Dennis owns and rides Paco. Next up for the Netherlands here. Dennis hoping to join our starting field. Skylar Riley, Harold Chopping, David Blake, Caitlin Williams. So Dennis round to the triple combination. More than halfway through, and we are still not going to have another clear round. The last part of the triple combination is down. So Dennis Dijkman and Paco will be on 4-fault 75-366. The battle of those 4-faulters puts Dennis into 8th. Cedric Dalman is still the fastest 4-faulter. John Corrigan did jump clear but had the 2 for time in 77-160 with Jamasina. So he sits in 5th. Tokyo eventing Olympian for the USA, Doug Payne. Doug and Chacolat by Chaco Blue. Doug, who was in our Grand Prix yesterday, ended up in the ribbons in the Grand Prix.
When I first got this stuff,
Doug Payne and Chacolat give us our first clear in quite some time here. That is clear round number 5 for Doug, who does a lot of jumpers. He's the national 5-star eventing champion here in the US, but has been plenty of times national pre-winner, particularly at Tryon, where he does a lot of his jumpers. But he's a good supporter of the various jumper shows here at the Aiken Horse Park Bruce's Field as well. Maria Gabriela Brugal-Gasso with BG Stables. Jamaica next up. Jamaica by Captain Cooper. Maria Gabriela Brugal-Gasso, Jamaica.
Yeah, but they never, not as an American.
Open the floodgates again because that is, it's clear, but it's time, of course, with the 77 and some change on the clock. So Maria Gabriela Brugal-Gasso, another one on 2 for time, alongside John Corrigan, a little bit slower than him, so it goes into 7th place. 5 clears it is still. Vicente Guillen, Vicente and Tranquility Farms, Eveline de Carl, the rider who went very well in the some of the international Grand Prix at WEC in Ocala.
Well, no, for Carolina.
So down at A as well, having turned the circle, Vicente and Eveline de Cal, bringing home the 8, and of course a lot of time with the circle on course 2. So Vicente with 8 for jumping, 10 for time. So Gabriela Reuter, here I am Z. We still have our search for another clear round to join the 5 currently qualified here in the Sherrodale National Prix. Lured into thinking we were going to end up with quite a big jump off when 4 of the first 6 jumped clear, and then we had to wait nearly half the class before Doug Payne gave us clear round number 5. They come back in the order in which they qualify as well. So Doug currently with a good draw to maybe finish up on a podium or a win here at the end of his week's jumping with a big string of horses here in Aiken, Gabriela, and Here I Am Z. Won't join the jump off though with the Lugano down. So Gabriela's 4 in 74 seconds, goes into 8th place. becomes the fastest four-faulter. Maria Gabriela Brugal-Gasso on 2 in 7th. Jonathan Corrigan on a slightly faster two-faulter with John Cena in 6th.
And this is the warm-up by Diamante Smil.
Dan Geeney next up for Ireland with another one for Pine Hollow Farm in our entry here for the National Prix. Dan with Nixon van Dablendrief. So Dan and Nixon van Dablendrief, another one to get this far on the course on the 0 score. Can he keep it all the way home? No. The last part of the triple combination goes. Dan Geeney and Nixon van Dablendrief going to be another one on 4. For them in 75, 454. So Dan Geeney and Nixon go 12th best on our order. They're all quite closely stacked there, the four-faulters. Gabriela Reuter is only 1.1 second faster, and Gabriela is in 8th position with the fastest four-fault. Mustafa Shah is our next to go. Mustafa owns and rides Harakiri Z. Sangashired by the great sire Hard Rock. Could join the ranks of our 5 clear rounds so far in our Sherrodale National Prix here at Split Rock Jumping Tour Aiken. So Harakiri and Mustafa have the last down as well, the first and the last, and a couple in between for a grand total of 24 for the pair here in our National Prix. So second ride now for Harold, chopping another one for the Rain family here. As we mentioned, the Rain family named as the Equestrian Canada Owners of the Year at the Toronto Royal over the course of this week. Harold with Gerda Riker by the VDL sire Campbell. And of course, Harold already qualified for the jumper off with the Spy Coast bred Geronimo. So Harold, unfortunately, with the Vitalize down, that closes the door on him having two in the jump off. It'll be 4 faults here in 73.039 for Harold, and that is going to become our fastest 4 fault. It goes into 8th place for the Canadian pair. Another go around here for Brooke Kemper. Brooke, who we saw earlier on with Byra picking up faults and time against that 76 seconds time allowed. This time with Sea View Demonstration, the Irish Sport Horse by Corelli Bravo. On the 0 score at the moment, but we've seen plenty of faults towards the end of the round. And Brooke would be keen to join our 5 currently qualified for the jump off.
Very good from Brooke Kemper.
And there we are, clear round number 6. Brooke Kemper and Sea View Demonstration make it through for our jump off to come. Just 6 qualified, and actually it can never be a very big jump off because we've just got 4 or 5 remaining in the initial round and only 6 currently qualified. Very, very talented rider, picking up good results for the USA here in North America and all around the world. Coco Faith, Hillside Farm LLC's Chelasco next up. So still on the 0 to this point, riding this serpentine line up the full length of this new Grand Prix ring from the Jarvis Insurance ESI footing to the Lugano. Pace looks good as well from Coco, and unfortunately, just that rollback turn to the skinny rails. Chalasco just jumps a little bit at rather than over that top rail, and they're so light they won't take a moment's punishment before they fall. So coming home on 4 on what was otherwise a very, very good round. Coco and Chalasco, just one more to go. The split rock, which they clear. Watching the clock, 75.074, just sneaks inside the 76 seconds time allowed. So it is 4 faults. It'll be one of the slower 4s, goes 13th. Kirsten Coe, c'est bon. The Amaretto Darker Sol Francais bred for Equine Trading Company for Kirsten Coe here for the USA. First of 4 remaining in the National Prix initial round. 6 currently qualified. Brooke Kemper, our most recent qualifier.
I just don't like going somewhere else speak the language. I was fine in Spain.
So Kirsten, unfortunately, will end up watching the jump off from the sidelines, with Sebon having the rail out of the ESI footing mid-course here at Lugano Diamond Split Rock Aiken. As I say, a shame, Kirsten Coe and Sebon, just that single vertical in the middle of the course down for their 4 faults, keeping that out of the jump off. 6 qualified and 3 more to see here in our Sherrodale Aiken Equine Realty. Sherrodale team sponsoring our National Prix and our Fist Pump Challenge across the weeks, jumping here in South Carolina on the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour. Second ride now for Ed Copeland. So I'm quite early in the draw with Corana said back, this time with John Wolf's Nicolas. Nicolas, a Swedish horn by Languster. Early rail here for Ed. So again, it's 6 with a maximum of 8 for the jump off. So just a couple of replays here at the moment while we get things reset. Ed Copeland and Nicholas get the tone. So through the triple combination line, made it look quite nice. Second time of asking. And away over the last. So it's going to be 16 jumping time penalties as well, 6 of them for Ed Copeland and Nicholas. So Beth Goodwin, Havana on course, picking up their first problems going through the Southwestern Motifs double. B element 4 faults. So Havana, the Zorocco Blue, Dutch Warm Blood for Beth is going to be another one just on the single rail. So whilst we don't have many clears, we will have a lot sitting behind just on the 4. So it's the multiple jumps, the double and the triple down for Beth Goodwin and Havana, making it a total of 8 jumping faults for Beth, 72.879 on the clock. So it should just be one remaining. Jonathan Corrigan, a second ride for Jonathan. Key Preston Lawson's Contessa by Contendro to wrap up the initial round and see whether it's going to be 6 or 7 clears coming back for the jump-off.
When you think about it,
Jonathan and Contessa going all right. Triple combination, though, to be answered here. So many come home on just the 4 faults, and it has been the triple combination, but it is all good. Jonathan Corrigan and Contessa are clear. And that means it's 7 coming back for the jump off. Nice to see Jonathan Corrigan getting one in there as well, and making it sort of 4 from the first half of the draw, very early in that first half of the draw, 3 from the second half of the draw. Skylar Riley, Harold Chopping, David Blake, Caitlin Williams were our first 4, USA, Canada, Ireland, USA. Then it was Doug Payne for the USA, Brooke Kemper for the USA, and finally Jonathan Corrigan with Contessa for Ireland, giving us our 7th clear round. Well, Guy Georges and the team here at the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour in Aiken are going to set up the shortened track for our Sherrodale National Prix, and we will return to the action for a 7-strong jump-off in just a few moments' time. So welcome back. Just a few moments away from the start of our jump off here. What will be 7-strong jump off to decide our Sherrodale National Prix. We have our first with us. Skylar Riley and O'Hara van der Wateringhoven gave us one of 4 early clears in the initial round of jumping.
Oh look, because that would say. Yeah, Manchester, Orlando, because that would just.
Skylar and O'Hara van der Wateringhoven. So a little bit of a change. Initially they come across to the Sherrodale fence. He's put the longer rails in it, helping the turn back then to the line 3-4. 5AB comes up next. And now 3 new fences. Vertical down at the bottom of the course. Number 14. Then back across to the Roman arches, the Colosseums, with a very, very high wings here. Skylar clear that. 1 more to go. It is the green and white. New fence 16. She just really hangs. It comes down. It's 4 faults for O'Hara van der Wateringhoven and Skylar Riley. We just saw that horse hanging on her a couple of times, a little bit, over the Roman arches, you would have said, and then it just comes back and gets them. Then at the final fence on course, the green and white. So 4 faults for our first to go in the jump-off round. Skylar Riley, of course, top 7 guaranteed for everyone who made it through to this jump-off as well. Well, from one World Cup finalist for the USA to a World Cup finalist for Canada, Harold Chopping is our next to go with Diane Halpin's Geronimo SCF. Harold had 2 in the class, and it was just this one that qualified. After 3 riders, Harold gave us clear round number 2 and guaranteed this jump-off. So Harold Chopping, Geronimo, on course. That reference time set by Skylar, 74.748. Nope, that was the first round time. So Skylar's time was 43.680 with the 4 faults. They're out over the arches. Harold Chopping, Geronimo coming towards home. This green and white. It stays up for Harold. It's double clear and 42.054. He's that little bit faster as well. Harold Chopping and Geronimo SCF set the standard here with our first double clear.
Spot.
David Blake, Milan 7 for Pine Hollow Farm. Can David add a ride for the ribbons here in the National Prix together with his good result yesterday with Kyoki in our International Grand Prix, the $100,000 Lugano Diamonds here at Aiken.
David wants to win.
They all do.
So crossing the ring now to the double on this jump. Of course, the Southwestern Motifs tight turn back now to the vertical. Seven, 6 seconds to get home from here. He started off very positive. Has he got enough? 42, 445 for David and Milan. So 0.4 of a second, pretty much slower for David and Milan to go into second place. Harold Tropping and Geronimo leading thus far for Canada. And then the fourth of our early clear rounds was Caitlin Williams. Caitlin owns and rides Cassio Maloney. Caitlin actually trained by Skylar Riley, who gave us that first clear round. And we saw first back in the jump off. So Caitlin, Cassio Maloney down at the vertical at the bottom of the course, still on the clear at the moment. 42.054 is Harold Tropping's leading time over the archers, coming up to the green and white. The time doesn't look like they're going to be able to sneak in front. It's just behind. 43.026 with the double clear. Caitlin Williams and Cassio Maloney taking over third place. Out of our first four, in the jump off, we have 3 double clears. Harold Tropping the fastest, 42.054. So we had to wait an awful long time then to see our 5th clear round. Doug Payne. Doug with his own Chocolat. By Chaco Blue, the sire of the Olympic champion, Explosion. Good positive start up that first distance from Doug, turning away from the Shara Dale. Through the double, down to this vertical at the bottom of the course. 27, 28 seconds over the vertical for Doug. Clear there, just knives across that a little bit on the angle, shortening up the distance to the green and white. He's clear and he is faster, 40.078, nearly 2 seconds faster. Doug Payne goes into the lead in our National Prix. So penultimate combination in the National Prix jump-off. Brooke Kemper, Sea-View demonstration. 40.078 leads and about 27, 28 seconds we were saying for the vertical down at the bottom of the course. New fence 14. So 40.365 there for Brooke and Seaview demonstration. Brooke into second place. We have our 5 double clears so far. Doug Payne, Brooke Kemper, Harold Chopping are our podium finishers, and one who could upset that podium. Now it is Jonathan Corrigan and Contessa going to wrap up our jump off here. Doug Payne and Chacalat, reference time for them, 27.28 seconds over the vertical at the bottom of the course. Jonathan Corrigan and Contessa just finishing their warm-up, having a final few talks about tactics clearly before they come in to try and challenge that 40.078 time for Doug Payne and Chacalat, currently in the lead here in our National Prix. Jonathan with 2 in the ribbons anyway, because his clear with the time faults for Jarman Cena will finish in 8th place. We always ride 8 at a Split Rock show for the big Split Rock Jumping Tour ribbons. But here is Jonathan now with Contessa to see which other place in the awards will he take. Will it be first? Will he be faster than 40.078? Doug Payne, Chacalat, the ones to beat. Jonathan and Contessa on the 0 score at the moment, balancing up here for the double, turning back, thinking in our mind, 27.28, they need to be at this vertical. They're there. It's pretty much neck and neck. Jonathan Corrigan, Contessa, what can they do on the final sector of the course? 6 seconds remaining as they jump the Italian archers. Jonathan Corrigan, Contessa have to beat 40.078, and look at that, 0.6 of a second faster. Jonathan Corrigan will take victory for Ireland in the National Prix here, presented by Sherridale Equine Realty team here in Aiken, South Carolina. Jonathan Corrigan, Contessa, 39.487 the final time, and Jonathan with 1st and 8th in awards, ahead of our 7-strong jump-off. Doug Payne in second, Brooke Kemper in third, Harold Chopping fourth, David Blake fifth, and Caitlin Williams sixth, Skylar Riley seventh. 6 of our 7 jumping double clear over Guillerme Shorter's track here in the final division of the 2022 visit of the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour here to Aiken, South Carolina. Well, don't forget to tune in, of course, just before Christmas time, 3rd week in December. We have a full week of national and international show jumping culminating in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier from the Will Rogers Memorial Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. And then just across the new year, 3rd week in January, our series championships and another international event at the new Terra Nova Equine facility in Sarasota, Florida. And that is going to wrap up our 2022 season of the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour.
Cottage Charm to Landon Residential Real Estate, serving Aiken, South Carolina and surrounding areas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the award winners for the Sherrodale $20,000 National Prix. Derek Braun, accompanied by the Sherrodale team, congratulating 7th place finishers Skylar Riley and O'Hara van der Wateringhoever. Caitlin Williams is in 6th, riding Cassio Maloney. It's 5th for David Blake and Milan 7. 4th place goes to Canadian rider Harold Chopping and Geronimo. Then those podium placings. In 3rd, it is Brooke Kemper and Seaview Demonstration. Doug Payne is the runner-up riding Chocolat. And Jonathan Corrigan, the Irish international, takes the victory riding Contessa. Huge thank you again to Sherrodale, the leading agent in South Carolina. As we move to the podium, it is 3rd place, 3rd for Brooke Kemper and Seaview Demonstration. Runner-up position, Doug Payne and Chocolat. but the winner, Jonathan Corrigan and Contessa. Ladies and gentlemen, in honour of the winning rider, let's please ask you to stand and remove cover for the national anthem of Ireland. Many, many congratulations. Thank you so much to our presenting party, Derek Braun, and of course the team from Sherridale. Really is appreciated to stay. And of course, Sherridale for their support of our National Prix here at the Lugano Diamond Split Rock Jumping Tour Aiken edition. They're also presenting sponsor for the Fist Pump Award as well. And we will be presenting that a little later on as well. We get our top three back on board. As we get set and prepared for the victory gallop. We are good to go. We say congratulations indeed to the winner of the Sherridale $20,000 National Prix, Irish rider Jonathan Corrigan and Contessa. And it is one more time for Jonathan Corrigan, Contessa. Well done, Jonathan Corrigan, in that $20,000 National Sherridale Grand Prix. Also, the small matter of the additional $500 for the winner of the Fist Pump Award. You see them already up on the podium. And the winner of the Fist Pump Award was Madison Kondracki for her great celebration after her victory in yesterday's two-round 1:35 competition as well. So great performance there. And again, thanks so much to Sherridale for their support throughout the season. The photographs courtesy of Josh Winslow and his team, the official show photographers. All the photographs put very quickly after completion of competition. You can check those out online or at the booth as well. Choice is yours. So thanks to our sponsors, our title sponsor, Lugano Diamonds, and of course the sponsor of that $20,000 National Prix, Sherrodale. We really appreciate it at Split Rock. It concludes the Aiken International then, and well, there is still the 13th to the 18th of December for the CSI 4-Star World Cup show at the Split Rock Fort Worth venue, and then we'll have the season-ending conclusion in Sarasota, 25th to 29th of January as well. Thank you all for your attendance, great hospitality and hosts here in Aiken, and until next time, have a safe journey home.
We have a new